Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20. Break 3 to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40 midfield. 40 30 to the coast. 20 15 Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra with a crooked hat. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Come on, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to the show's page, go to Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that page as well. So not only will you get Shawn and Maya in the morning, but you'll also get Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll get Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, come on, guys, keep up with the Joneses and them. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the little bell next to it, and that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, watching this on our mobile app, yay. Please don't tell me you didn't know we have a mobile app. Come on, man. We all should know we have a mobile app. So go to the place that you get your apps from. And it doesn't matter whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Webolts, Gold Blast. It doesn't matter where you get your apps from. Just go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, and not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew. And I mean a slew of articles thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on a Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor. Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel to your television. Put it there next to the big boys. Netflix, Hulu, Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Stars. Oh, yeah. Friday, Stars. Season 3, Raising Canaan. Start streaming at midnight on Friday, baby. I'm fired up. But I digress. Put us there. Watch us on the big screen. Hell, we're on the big screen, right? Mickey, Ficky, now. You can also tweet the show. Tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy now. If you want to follow me, just me personally online. Want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. And we got a great show for you, man. At 10 o'clock, the host of the Lockdown Bears podcast is going to join me. We have a lot to talk, and man, some stuff happening in the last 24 hours, and some stuff happening in the last hour. I love it. So Lorin Cox is going to join me at 10 o'clock. We also have White Sox to talk, which is very little. So don't worry. If you blink, you'll miss it. We got Cubs to talk. The Cubs are getting ready to go to Tokyo. Actually, I got like 4 people, 4 different people that I know in Tokyo, because they have the Tokyo Marathons, one of the 6 major marathons. It's New York, Boston, Chicago, Tokyo, Berlin, and one more. I don't know. Anyway, 4 different people that I know were over there running that marathon. That's crazy. Crazy style. That's crazy talk. Anyway, I digress. Got some Bulls action to talk. And then, of course, we got Bears. Ryan Poles has seen the error in his ways, and he is trying to make up for that in big-time fashion. We're going to talk with Lorin Cox about that at 10 o'clock. I'll probably go off on a little rant of my own. Before then, but Lorin Cox at 10 o'clock. All right. Listen. Let's see what's up with everyone in the chat. Cornelius Squall's checking in early. What up, sports owners? He says, Cornelius, my man Armando Emeterio, Lara, Junior, my man Junior. He was one of my guards. Junior, can you play for the Bears? Because they needed a guard. Junior, like me, that would have been our dream job. Play for the Bears. It would have been. Rick Gonzalez, good morning, Papa. Good morning, boys. Bears making big boy moves. LFG, let's fucking go, he said. Let's go, Rick. I hear you, man. I'm fired up about that. Big time. Oh, snap. Jay Gris checking in. What's up, Papa? Jay Gris in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Black Diamond checking in. What's up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. That, my peoples, I can promise you. That, I can promise you. Oh, man, we got a great show, and I'm fired up about it, man. You know, there are so many people who were coming at Ryan Poles, and rightfully so. I was one of them, who just obliterated him because of his lack of acquiring top offensive talent. You're a former offensive lineman. You should be able to, well, first of all, you should know that that's the way NFL teams should be built. You should know that first and foremost. All right, you were one of the building blocks of a team, an offensive line, defensive line as well, the interior, the trenches. And you refuse to do that. You try to go with bargain basement prices. You try to go to Timo and get offensive linemen. No, man, draft, develop, and keep them, and try not to let them hit free agency. Try not to let them hit free agency. So I am happy that he finally decided to address the situation. And it seems like we got some pretty good players. I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. Because you have your quarterback, and you had no protection for him, and that was disheartening. That was disheartening. Let's see what else. No, Black Diamond, we got your mock. We were going over it, and remember we were supposed to go over it the other day, and then we just lost time. We just see here you go. There you go, right there. We'll talk about it. We'll try and talk about it today. All right, so don't think I forgot about you. All right, don't think I forgot about you. Don't think I forgot about you. Brandon Shush checking in. Good morning, Papa. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Oh, man, Mondo, Timu. But yes. There's some great stuff going on with the Bears, which opens up a lot of conversation now. Opens up a lot of conversation for number 10 overall pick. I don't think we're done in free agency, nor do I think we should be done in free agency. Okay? I don't think we should be done in free agency at all. All right? I just don't. I just think there's a couple other pieces we need to get. I think that would help a lot. Oh, you at the rodeo last night and you're on TV? That's dope. That's dope. That is dope. But I'm getting a little excited now, more and more, because now this is something that should have been done a couple of years ago, Ryan Poles. Should have been done a couple of years ago. But your half-ass efforts ruin a lot of stuff or delayed a lot of things. Shawn Walls, but he's checking in. What's up, Papa? Good morning. He says maybe the Bears drafted a running back at 10. No, I don't believe so. I think it would be a mistake to do that. First and foremost, I also think that I think they need to get one more piece. I think you need Drew Dahlman. Okay, I think you need Drew Dahlman because here's what happens. If you get Drew Dahlman and you trot out this offensive line with Darnell Wright, Tooney, Drew Dahlman. The guy, oh, now I just forgot to do. What the hell's the dude's name? Jonah Jackson. Sorry. And even if you left Braxton Jones there, which I don't think they will, but even if you left him there, that offensive line is is a much better upgrade. Much better upgrade. That's an upgraded offensive line from last year. If you go Darnell Wright, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and Braxton Jones. And that's only. And what if you draft Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks at that left tackle position? That offensive line is a really good one now. Now they got to still gel. Let's not get it twisted. They got to gel. It's going to take a while. Rick, you asked the question: is Tooney going to play guard or tackle? Most likely guard. Most likely guard. That's where he's been playing. That's where Tooney is a 4-time Pro Bowler. Two-time Pro Bowler, 4-time Super Bowl champ. Sorry. My apologies. Cornelius Squall's talking about Membu. Okay. Talk about he's not bad either. There's a couple of linemen that I liked in this draft. And I was hearing some people talk. And it annoys me when I hear people who don't know football talk football. Pardon me. I'm probably just a little bit of a snob. I get it. Oh, snap. Coming from north of the border, baby. Kez the Canuck in the house. What's up, baby? Hey, I need to get a hold of you. I gotta holler at you about something. Kez. Gotta make sure we're friends on Facebook too. Armand Membo, he's nice. I liked him. I also there's another guy. Who did I was in a group. I'm in a group thread with Junior and his son, Armando Lara Jr. and Armando Lara III. And here we go. Will Campbell, Kyle Banks, Tyler Booker. I love that guard from Alabama. And people were talking about he didn't test well. I don't give a damn about the testing. Stop with your stupid shit about he didn't test well. Watch the goddamn film. Watch the film and see what he does on film. Don't give me that, oh, he didn't test well. Who cares when you have the film to back it up? Who cares when you move people in the SEC on a weekly basis? Stop bringing that up as if, why do we always got to bring people down? His attitude is one that I love. He talks about it's legal assault. That's not a guy you fall in love with. as an offensive lineman, who do you fall in love with then? He's talking about it's legal assault. He goes, I play the game so I make other people not love the game of football. So when you hear people say, oh, well, he didn't test well, I don't care. I was in the thread over the weekend. We were talking. And we're like, why the hell are linemen even running 40s? Why? Linemen don't run 40 yards downfield. They don't. If they're running 40 yards downfield, they're jogging because they're running back or the receiver or somebody hit a home run. I was telling Mondo Jr., I was like, man, just check their short shuttle, their short pull, their long pull, their short shuttle, the bench, the broad jump. Those are the things you want to see. How explosive are they with the broad jump? Let me see your short and your long pull. How well do you get out? The screen thing, that's okay too. That's fine. You can do that. But a 40? Come on, man. It's silly. There's no reason for it. Black Diamond, yeah, you're right. Poe seems to be trying to atone for his arrogance. Yes, he is. Sometimes you got to be humbled. And maybe Ben Johnson said, hey, here's who I need. Here's who I want. But is that an upgrade? Is that an upgrade right now? Because I don't know. Jonah Jackson. I don't know if that's an upgrade. And here's why. You're going to pay this guy $17 million next year? And when I saw this, it rang so true. Clay Harbor. The last 3 years, Jonah Jackson's played 29 of 51 games. Tevinjenkins, our guy, the one that we bitch about is always hurt, played in 39 of 51 games. So Tevinjenkins, the guy that we bitch and moan about, is always hurt, played 10 more games than the guy you just signed for $17 million. And don't tell me about stats. I know Jackson was a Pro Bowler in 21, I want to say, in 22. But if Tevin hadn't been hurt, he was out of Pro Bowl trajectory two seasons ago, I want to say. He was having a Pro Bowl year until he got hurt. So now you're paying. I saw that, and when I saw the thing from Clay Harbor on Twitter, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's a head scratcher. That's a big time head scratcher. Because our guy, the one that nobody likes and wants to get rid of, is more durable than the guy you're bringing in to bring $17 million. I get it. He worked with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was a passing game coordinator back then. I get it. I understand. By the same token, you got a history. If you're going off injury history, his injury history is worse than Tevinjenkins. Might as well bring Tevin back for $8 million a year. Because you can't tell me. I know Jonah Jackson was a Pro Bowl. I get it. But as I said, Tevin was in a Pro Bowl trajectory as well. Nobody to set the tone like Tevinjenkins did. Last person to set the tone like that was Kyle Long. Last offensive lineman to set the tone like Tevinjenkins sets the tone was Kyle Long. We know Kyle Long was a bad boy. He was a bad man. Correct, Black Diamond. That money next year is not guaranteed. I hear you. DY Nemesis in the house on the ones and twos, baby. He says something to be said here about scheme fit. Johnson Poles creating the building blocks. Well, obviously, he's a fit. He played in Detroit for 4 years. 4 years. Okay, so he's a fit. But why are the Rams getting rid of him after 1 year? That's a red flag. Why the Rams would get rid of him after 1 year for a 5th-round pick? I don't know. You just gave this guy a lot of money. And now you want to get rid of that contract? I don't know. Hell yeah, you still got to draft O-lineman. That is not off the table at all. Listen, I'm drafting an offensive lineman unless Mason Graham falls to number 10. If Mason Graham falls to number 10, he's a Bear. He might be the only person I don't draft an offensive lineman for. He's probably the only person I'm not drafting an offensive lineman for. Because I know you got Will Campbell, Kevin Banks, but also don't forget you got Cam Ward, you got Travis Hunter. I don't know what's happening with the Shedeur Sanders situation. All right, there's a couple of people. I mean, we're 10. I think there's going to be a good offensive lineman. And Steve-O and I were talking before the show, you can still get good offensive linemen in the 2nd round and maybe the 3rd. Like there was one guy that in our thread, they were talking about him, and I got to go do some research on him now because they mentioned it. Ariante Ursary from Minnesota, the tackle from Minnesota. They had a poll, they had a survey at the end of the year for the Big Ten players. And Ariante Ursary, tackle from Minnesota, was the one that most players listed as the biggest problem at offensive tackle. Edge rushers, linebackers, DN said he was the biggest problem, biggest guy, the toughest guy to get around. So when players are saying this guy's a tough cookie, I'm going to take him over any other gurus or scouts or anything else. No. When players say, man, this Joker's tough, it's going to make me go take a double look at him. And if this guy's around, if you don't get Campbell or Banks or Booker, or not Booker, we could wait for another year or two to draft a good guard. If we don't get Campbell or Banks, Ariante Ursary in the 2nd round. Then look at 3-tech or edge. We'll see. We'll see. I got you on my kids. Can I count? Okay, cool. Cool. Let's see. Deshaun Watson supposed to do his due diligence on Jonah Jackson. He's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. But here's where he should have set the tone and said, hey, listen, I know he's your guy, Ben. But here's the problem, is that they're carrying all of his contract. They're taking all 17 mil. Like, I would have taken him if you take some of his contract because of his injury history. See, but Ben Johnson is going to come in and he's saying, I want this guy, this guy, this guy. And Ryan Poles kind of has to acquiesce. He's a new guy. You know, when you start a relationship, you know, your significant other asks you something, can you pick me up? Yeah, honey, of course. Sure, no problem. It's really a pain in the ass. You don't really want to do it or you have other stuff, but you do it anyway because it's new, it's fresh. Yeah, Rick, I get you. And he knows him better than Tevin. He does. That's another good point. That's where the relationship comes in. Cornelia says maybe they feel that Tevin's going to get more than 17 million free agency. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, we're talking 5 to 8 million, I think, for Tevin, in my opinion. 5 to 8 million because of his health history and escalators, incentive-based bonuses. Can you stay healthy? bonuses, basically. Right, it was the 6th. I hear you. I agree. It's not like they, and which is why, and I guess you're right. That's why they took the whole contract, because they only gave him a 6th. DY, these decisions obviously have Johnson written all over them. Whose opinion do you trust more, him or Poles? Well, at this point, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to Ben Johnson, because we've seen Ryan Poles swing and miss a lot. But here's also the other issue. Don't just because he's your guy, you fall in love with him, doesn't mean it can't be a bad pick. It can't be a bad decision. Like I said, he's played in less games than Tevin has. And if you've been talking to Tevin, if you've seen him in interviews, that's how he is in person. Like, when I've interviewed him, like, Tevin's the guy who'll do whatever you need. Like, if you want to teach him something, he'll teach you. He'll pick it up, no problem. He's a yes sir, no sir kind of guy. Gets out there and does it, and he's cheaper. But I think it's just the newness of the relationship between Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles. So Ryan Poles is kind of going to acquiesce. Just is what it is. James Ford checking in. Good morning, Papa. How are you? Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we are going to get to the top of the morning topics. I promise. For real. All right, we got a lot of top of the morning topics to talk, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
The cross, the drive, challenged by Strus.
Boy, he got down twice.
Zealous hits the deck hard.
And they need to leave this like this. Ricky's going to get called.
White with the block on Garland.
Oh, no suit for you.
Advantage of the mismatch with Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, steal.
And a steal by Carter. Throws it out.
Oh, you got to get that.
You're hoping for a teammate. White eventually takes it away from Merrill. Carter's looking for three.
Oh, give me the hot sauce, JC. And he earned that.
Williams having some fun with the cameras as we get set for the second half, and a lot for Buzelis.
Go get it. Big time players make big time plays.
Buzelis lines up a three. Allen taps it. Loose ball for Buzelis.
Meet me at the rim and don't be late.
Got to get it in. They do to Smith for three. Good.
Oh, bang, bang, bang. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith in the house. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of Chicago Sports Net. Those were the Bullies from Monday night. And that was a tough one. Started off good. You're facing the number one team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Spider Mitchell had them. But then Cleveland showed why they're the number one team in the East. Let's get it crack-a-lackin', baby. Guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
See, which way do we go? Which way do we go? Let's start there. We'll start with what we did coming out of the break. The Bulls. On Monday, the Bulls fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers 139-117. Yeah, it was a tough one. They had a lead for a while, but Cleveland came back. All right, Kobe White led the way, 25.7 assists. Taylor, Horton, Tucker, Chicago, Leon's own. He dropped 22 in the cause. Zach Collins. I'm starting to like this guy more and more. 20 points, 12 rebounds for a double-double. And you saw the youngster, Matas Buzelis, with a couple of dunks. He had 17 points and 7 rebounds in the losing affair. I'm liking the Zach Collins character. Seems to be a lot more athletic than Vooch. And he can do a lot of the same things that Vooch can do. Younger and more athletic. Keeping with the Bulls, next top of the morning topic tomorrow, the Bulls travel to Disney World in Orlando to face the Magic. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. Central. You can catch that game on Chicago Sports Net or listen to it on their flagship station, 670 a.m. Moving on to the next top of the morning topic. Here we go. Man. All right, relax. Cup fans laid the smack down on the Padres' candy asses. Woo! Big time. 16-1. They should have just stopped it. Shota Imanaga, he started. He got the win. He's 1-0 in the spring. Even 4 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 3 punch-outs. Allen was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, his first 3 of the spring. Triantos was 2 for 2 with a double, his second of the spring. A triple, his first of the spring. Driving in 2 runs, his 5th and 6th of the springtime. At PCA, who you see here on our flyer here, Pete Crow Armstrong with a ribby, his 5th RBI of the spring. Keeping it moving, the next top of the morning topic, the Cubs tomorrow night. Not tomorrow day. Tomorrow night, the Cubs host Kansas City Royals at Sloan Park out in Mesa. First pitch is 7:05 p.m. Central. You can watch on the Marquee Network or listen to it on their flagship station, 670 a.m. Do it one more time just so you can see it. Marquee Network, 670 a.m. Now, the next top of the morning topic, the White Sox. The White Sox didn't play yesterday, thank God, so they didn't lose. Thank goodness. But today they have a split squad game. Actually, two teams, or the same two teams, are splitting it up. So the White Sox have a split squad today versus the Brewers. Game 1 is at Camelback Ranch, Sox versus Brewers. And the other game is in Phoenix at the Brewers spring training facility, the other half of the White Sox roster. First pitches are 2:05 and 2:10 Central Time. How are they going to do this? Which game they have? You can listen to it on ESPN, but which game are they going to play on ESPN? The one at Camelback or the one in Phoenix? I don't know. Good question. But they got a split schedule, a split squad today, and that's kind of weird. I've never seen that before. In all my years of spring training, I've never seen where the same two teams are split. Oh, snap. Okay. Off the Dub is checking in today. Papa, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Here he is checking in. Let's get it. Said your Cubs going to make a run this year. They better. They got a really good shot. They have a really good shot to make a run. There's really no one in the Central. You got some good pitching. You added some offensive firepower. I would say you'd probably be favored to win the Central. It's just me. Got to put up with you guys talking all that shit all season. We're trying not to lose 100 games, and you guys are trying to win the playoffs, trying to win the division. What are you talking about? That's how we're gonna do y'all this season, Shawn. You talking Cubs on the Sox of 16-1? That what you're talking about? Rick, I don't know, bro. I hope they hit rock bottom, because I hope they're as low as they can go, man. And you know the crazy part? I know I've said it here before, but the Sox can win 20 more games and still lose 100. They can improve by 20 games, which would be a phenomenal improvement. Phenomenal improvement for any team. And they'd still have 100 losses. What the fudge crackers is that? It's all over. I hear you, man. Hey, hey, Black Diamond, I grew up in the era, man. I talk shit. It's okay. I can pitch. I can catch. I'm not. No, I don't get hurt when you say something against my team. No, dude. Come on, man. Grew up in that smack talking era. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. I hear you, baby. Trust me, I don't take it personal. Rick says, not even funny, Steve. Not even funny. Oh, goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Next top of the morning topic, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The Bears made some moves. Actually, they made 3 moves. Well, 2 moves yesterday. Jonah Jackson. The Bears have traded for Jonah Jackson. Actually, he was with the Rams when they got him. He played with Detroit for his first 4 years of his career, 20, 21, 22, 23. He signed a contract in the offseason with the Rams. Nice contract. It was $51 million, I want to say. There goes the warden. He's with Detroit. His first 4 years, he was with the Rams last year. And so the Bears made a move for him. He was with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was the passing game coordinator when he was there. I think he was the offensive coordinator 1 year as well. Jonah was 20, 21, 22, and 23. 24. Well, yeah, so even though Ben was still the OC back then. So get him from the Rams in exchange for a 2025 6th-round pick. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier. Jonah Jackson. in 3 years, 51 games. He's only played in 29 of them, while Tevin has played in 39 of them. It's cause for concern. Hope this young man's healthy. Hope he stays healthy. Hope he stays healthy. Also, the Bears announced that they would not tender a restricted free agent offer, an RFA offer to Sam linebacker Jack Sanborn. Doesn't mean he's necessarily gone. There's still a chance he could come back. Because what's a lot of, well, not with your people, you can tag him or tender him an offer as a restricted free agent. We can go out and see if someone else gives him a contract. You have the right to match it. So they're not tendering him that. They're just kind of letting him go, but he could come back. It all depends on what Dennis Allen likes in his linebackers. All right, we don't know their stereotypical the preferences for Dennis Allen. We have an idea. We don't know if Sanborn fits, who doesn't fit, or else. So I wish him well. I hope he lands either back here or on his feet, gets a gig quickly, because this is a guy who can play. He's downhill. He's great in the run versus the run. Not as good in the pass, but I guess that's his Achilles heel. Rams played him at center also. Pulls up versatility in his lineman. Yes, he did play at center. He did play at center, but he only played 4 games last year. Yeah. I think he's going to the guard spot. It's not even get it twisted. He's at a guard. Put him in left guard. And then the news that usurped or superseded the news from yesterday. Yesterday's news was Jonah Jackson. Today's news that came out this morning, man, for Adam Schefter, All-Pro guard Joe Tunney being traded to the Bears in exchange for a 2026 4th-round pick. 2026 4th-round pick. All right, Joe Tunney is a 4-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He's a 2-time All-Star. So it looks like they have their guards. Joe Tunney's 32 years old. Here's the situation. Here's what I hope they're doing. This guy's got about 2 years left. 2 good years left, these 2 guys. Here's where you can go draft a guard round or 3rd round. Maybe someone who's coming off an injury. Maybe someone who's a late bloomer. But you have 2 all-pro guards. Let me repeat that. You have 2 all-pro guards now. The final piece is Drew Dahlman, in my opinion. Now you secure that wall in front of Caleb. Give that son of a bitch time. That's what I'm talking about. Give him time. Let him step up in the pocket. Make sure he doesn't have to take his eyes off of downfield because there's someone in his face breaking through. You get Drew Dahlman, Caleb's going to have all day to throw. All day. Rick says Braxton Jones on the left, Jonah Jackson, left guard, Braxton Jones left tackle, Jonah Jackson left guard, Drew Dahlman center, Tunney right guard, Darnell right, Right tackle? You're damn right it's a nice upgrade, Rick. You're damn right. You're damn right. Off the dub says, I'm tired of going through losing seasons. We have to be playoff bound. I agree. I agree. Anmas. Oh, Anmas checking in. What's up, Papa? How are you? He said, my head's spinning. What's happening? My head's spinning. Just talking about all these. If we get Dahlman, I sure hope Stromberg wins out that competition. He better not win out that competition if they sign Dahlman. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because now you have a huge upgrade. Remember, the 3 interior linemen are your run game. And our run game was good last year. Look how we just upgraded it. DeAndre Swift could have some nice lanes to run. Whoever we drafted the 3rd or 4th round, along with Roschon Johnson, are going to have some nice lanes to run through. And some people are saying, well, draft GNT to 10. I still think that's too high. You can still get, there's Caleb Williams, there's Omarion Hampton from Virginia. There's Trevion Henderson and Judkins from Ohio State. There's a couple of good backs that you can go get in the 3rd and 4th round. And and that's the one thing you want. You get good backs late with an upgraded offensive line. See, now you address it, and I salute you, Ryan Poles. I'm going to give you shit. I'm going to give you credit, too, when you do well. You upgraded the offensive line with Pro Bowlers, so now you can go draft guys and fill them behind them. You can draft good guys. Like I said, is there a sleeper guard? Is there a guard who might have been on the radar last year but got hurt, or coming up this year? Like he's getting people on. He's on the radar this year. Maybe gets hurt next year. You could draft them late, or it could have happened 2 years ago and he's coming out this year. Now you can go draft them and say, okay, sit here behind these all-pro guards and learn. That's what Philadelphia does. Get all-pro guards, all-pro linemen. You get talented guys behind them to sit and watch for a year or so, and then when it's time for those guys to go, it's seamless. They step right in. Mondo says, I like Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I do too. He's a physical back. He's got really good speed. Yeah, I do too. Off the dub says, I've been watching tape on Johnson. I like the way he passes off his block to the tackle to open up the running back to the next level stuff. Telling you, it looks like we actually have something here. When you're saying you're watching Johnson, you meant Jonah Jackson? Is that who you meant off the dub? I think that's what you meant, Jonah Jackson. But yeah, a little bit of film. I just watched, just some highlights. And you can't always watch. I mean, they're highlights for a reason. But yeah, a couple highlights I saw. I like them. I like them a lot. So we'll see. But Ryan Poles is definitely making it about face. He is making a concerted effort to make sure that his offensive line is upgraded, to make sure that Caleb has time to throw, to make sure that Caleb's uniform is clean, to make sure we have good running lanes, to keep this ground game going. Okay? Don't put it all on Caleb. look, Caleb's going to get to a point. Caleb's learning a new offense this year. So Caleb's going to get to a point next year where he's comfortable in making all the changes, all the checks, all the adjustments, everything. But until then, give him a run game. And Ryan Poles, you've drastically upgraded that run game with the offensive lineman. Now we'll go get a running back in the third or fourth. Black Diamond says, call me crazy. I wasn't impressed with Caleb Johnson or Omarion Hampton. Really? I liked Omarion Hampton. Caleb Johnson, to me, is not a flashy guy. He's a meat and potatoes guy who can. He's a double. He's a guy who goes gap to gap, using baseball terms. All right, he'll hit you doubles. Every so often he'll get a hold of one and take it to the house if it's 50 yards in. Omarion Hampton, I find more explosive. Yeah, that's just how I saw him. But now the table's open. I mean, the options are endless because you have your guards, Pro Bowl guards. We're not talking guys who are just trying to get a buck. These guys were traded for. They weren't free agents. These were traded for Pro Bowl guards. I know they're up in age. That's why I said they got 2 years left. Here's a chance for you to get your two projects. Ryan Poles, find your projects. Find your projects. Go be the smartest man in the room. Get 2 more guards so you can sit behind these 2 Pro Bowlers. Hopefully they're able to soak up the knowledge that these guys have. My man, Mr. Shorty, checking in. What's up, Papa? How are you? He says, top of the morning. I've got meetings all day. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. Bear down, Shorty. Hopefully you can check it. Got some good talk about the trades. The Bears just got 2 new guards, 2 Pro Bowl guards. That's what I'm talking about. Pro Bowl guards. That is key. So it looks like we're not getting Deitler. Looks like we're not getting Deitler. Steve, when you get a chance, can you put that the Tooney flyer up in the drive so I gotta post that. I get a chance. I'm gonna post that when I get a chance. So I'm a little excited now. Yeah, that's weird. That's exactly what we were talking about, Shorty. Joe Tunney, I'm excited about him. And I said the same thing about Jackson. Like, wait a minute, he's missed more games than Tevin has. And everyone was clamoring about Tevin's availability and how many games he's missed. And now we go trade for a guy. The guy's going to be paid $17 million. We take his whole contract. I don't know. He's got 1 year. He's got 1 year to prove himself. Because I'm drafting a guard if I'm the Bears. I'm drafting a guard. He's got to run high and by to you all. Bear down. Hey, Shorty, I appreciate the time, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Thank you, Steve-O. Well, listen. We got to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to welcome Lorin Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. We're going to talk to him about this type of stuff. All things Bears with Lorin Cox on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness, so find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
Because we had the luxury of a very good offensive line, that's what we look to capitalize on and feature. You know, I see Darnell Wright very much in the same mold as a Penei Sewell, and we try to do things the last 3 years in Detroit to highlight Sewell in space, highlight him on one-on-one blocks, him against their best defensive linemen. I see the same thing for Darnell, and that's where. Look forward to getting to know him a little bit more this springtime and in training camp. But what I saw on tape last year showed a lot of promise in terms of the player that he can be.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those comes courtesy of Fox 32 in Chicago. I was Cassie Carlson talking to the man, 50 grand, man, 13 million. Just say not 50 grand. Ben Johnson at the scouting combine. And he was talking about Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright, listen. Any of you who played sports, you know your skill level rises. When you add good players around you, you play better. Darnell Wright's a good tackle. He's a really good right tackle. One of the better right tackles in the NFL. You're adding a Pro Bowler next to him? I like that kind of party. Oh, I like that kind of party. I anticipate his level of play improving. And he kind of had a regression last year, in my opinion. But I think he's gonna have a bounce back year with a Pro Bowl guard next to him. Man, let's get right to it, my man. My guest today, I'm excited to have him. He is a host of the Locked On Bears podcast. He's been rocking with us for years. All right, you can find him on Twitter at Cox Sports 1, like Fox Sports 1, but with a C. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Lorin Cox. Lorin, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. It'd be nice to go 24 hours without a big Bears move so I can breathe for a second. But hey, I'll take offensive line investment all day. That's what we've been asking for.
we have. But talk to me. I wasn't overwhelmed with the Jonah Jackson signing. Johnson signing. Johnson. All right. He's missed more games than Tevin. And we bitched and moaned about Tevin not being available. And he's played in 29. I'm talking Jackson's played in 29 of the last 51 games, the last 3 seasons. And Tevin's played in 39. So Tevin's played more. Why should we be all really super excited? Because it's not like Tevin wasn't a Pro Bowl level guard when he was there, when he was healthy. He was.
Yeah, the Jonah Jackson trade's a little bit harder to swallow for me because of the significant financial price tag there. Like I'm with you 100% that the injuries are a major concern there. I think the silver lining you look for there is obviously the Ben Johnson connection is nice in a lot of ways, but like it's not so much to me that like Ben Johnson's going to get him back to some higher level of play, but that Ben Johnson's intimately aware of Jonah Jackson's injury history every year, except for this past year with Los Angeles. And he would have had full access to all those medicals in Detroit for the last couple of seasons while he was there. And you feel like he knows exactly how Jonah Jackson takes care of his body in the offseason, how Jonah Jackson participates at practice, how he is in the locker room. And this is Ryan Poles kind of saying, all right, Ben, like we're going to trust you on this one. This is going to be your guy because he's going to end up being perhaps a more expensive version of Tevinjenkins for a player that maybe hasn't quite been as good lately. We'll see what the free agent market pulls out, because maybe Tevinjenkins ends up getting some huge deal and you go, okay, well, maybe after all, Jonah Jackson wasn't that expensive by comparison.
Yeah, I can see that. We'll see. I don't know. I was thinking 8 to 10 for Tevin. His injury history, but man, people throwing money around. They got in his tape. The tape that's out there is good tape. We see him driving people. He plays well. So, but you only need one. There won't be one guy who offers him 15, 16, or 17. You know what I mean? And he's got a daughter, and a baby girl. You got to follow the money. And at that point, I ain't mad at you, Papa. I wish him the best. Just we'll keep it moving. But now they not only did they do that, now they got Tunney. So now they've added 2 Pro Bowl guards in a 24-hour span. How fired up are you for Caleb to have some God-blessed time?
Yeah, Joe Thuney's definitely the big splash here. This is the kind of move we've really been waiting for here.
Yes.
And to me, like even with Jonah Jackson, it's like at least they're taking swings, as opposed to last offseason when it kind of felt like they'd take this piecemeal approach where it's like, okay, we'll trade for a backup center and we'll sign a cheaper guy and we'll have them compete. And boy, we hope that out of this competition, one of these players turns out to actually be good. But at least in this case, they're saying, no, this is the plan. This is who's going to start. This is a player who there's no question, whether or not he's going to be the guy in that spot. There's a question of whether or not somebody like Jonah Jackson's healthy, but like at least we know this is plan A. There isn't as clear of a plan B or something up in the air about what this is going to turn out to be. And someone like Joe Thuney, I think, gives both guys actually give the Bears some flexibility on the offensive line, because you can go into the draft and say, okay, you could potentially play Thuney at left tackle if you wanted to. If a really good guard becomes available and you want to move him around, you could play Jonah Jackson at either guard spot or potentially center if you get into free agency and you miss out on the center that you want, but maybe there's a guard available. Like I like that. Yeah, ideally these guys plug in as your 2 guards, one on the left side, one on the right side. But if something better comes up, or if another guard opportunity comes up, you have some ability to move these guys around and just, hey, let's get the 5 best offensive linemen on the field. And if that's a first round pick and at 10 overall, you can move guys around to find a way to make it work.
I agree. And that's a great point. Is Jonah does play center. He did play center with the Rams. So he is the versatility works. And if he is healthy, that versatility could come into play. All right. The NFL stands for not for long. And some guys might get hurt. He needs to come over, even if it's Drew Dahlman. Drew Dahlman, we sign him and he gets hurt. Okay, then you move him over. So I like it. What else do you think we need in free agency? I just mentioned Drew Dahlman. I would really love Drew Dahlman. I think that really, in my opinion, that will solidify this freaking offensive line. I'm okay if you don't draft a tackle. I would love it, but I'm okay. I could do with Braxton Jones for another year, right? Because he's not going to Canton. He's not getting a gold jacket. He's not going to the Pro Bowl, but he's an above average left tackle, and we can win with that. So what do you think the Bears need? What do you think they're going to do? What else do you think they're going to do in free agency before we get to the draft?
Yeah, I'm with you there with Braxton Jones too, where it's like, if the Bears can build this offensive line to the point where Braxton Jones is your biggest concern, then you've got a really good offensive line, because you can certainly live with a player like that. Jonah Jackson, I think the injuries that may end up being the bigger question mark there, not so much the talent. But as far as moving forward, like you've now got $17-ish million. We'll see what the number comes out to be sunk into Jonah Jackson. There's some debate as far as what his cap hit's going to be. And right now, Joe Thuney's cap hit's about $16 million. So that's at least $30 million you've got taken out of your cap space. You go from about it was supposed to be close to $80 million. You're down to like 50. So now all of a sudden, when you still have to sign a number 3 receiver, a number 2 tight end, and you need a starting defensive end opposite Montez Sweat, you start to look around and wonder where they can keep investing. Because if you put another, say, I don't know, $13-15 million into a Drew Dahlman contract, well, then you're really starting to run out of money for a pass rusher there. So I'm curious to see what the approach is here. Do they go a little bit cheaper with someone like Chase Young and then hope that you can add somebody in the draft at the defensive end and kind of have a rotation over there? Or do you go a little bit cheaper at the other guard spot or center, depending on how you want to move Jonah Jackson, and then maybe rely on a rookie there? Like, I think it's going to be a tag team approach between free agency and the draft, where they don't want to go into the draft with a big hole that they have to fill, but they may end up going into the draft with positions where it'd be nice to get a guy who you're not counting on to be the day one starter, but is going to potentially rotate in and have an opportunity to play some real snaps, maybe on the offensive line and the defensive line.
So you would take that with number 10, a guy that you don't anticipate starting at the number 10 spot, or are you talking the 2 seconds?
Yeah, like in the second and third round. If you sign Chase Young as a free agent, you could draft a pass rusher in the first round, and you don't necessarily have to make that pass rusher your day one starter. I think if you're taking an O-line in the first round, then you got to find a spot for him in your starting lineup, because there's just no way to really rotate them in there. But I think if you drafted a guard or a center in day 2 of the draft, that's perfectly a guy who won't start right away. But if Jonah Jackson has more injury issues, then he can fill in and step into that spot. And Jackson's basically on a 1-year deal. Joe Thuney's on the last year of his contract. These are shorter term options for now that you could give contract extensions to, but I'd like to draft and develop the long-term future replacements for both of those guys if I can.
Yeah, I think this is a really good situation where they can draft those guys that you're talking about. It's what Philly does. Philly gets guys, and as they get older, they develop these guys. They're Pro Bowlers, all right, and as their time in the league is coming to an end, they draft other guys who are going to be really good and let them sit and rotate in here and there, get a series here, a series there. But all the knowledge that you pick up for playing behind Pro Bowlers is invaluable. It's priceless, and that's what they're doing. Because who's the center in Philly that just took over for Kelsey?
Jurgens, or is it
Jurgens? Yeah. So there you go. So you go from a future Hall of Famer to another stud who's probably going to be an All Pro in that situation. So I love it. I love this. It's time. How long have you and I talked about Ryan Poles ignoring the offensive line, being former offensive lineman? All right. And I think it's finally, he's doing something well, something really good. How much Ben Johnson effect do you think this is?
Certainly the Jonah Jackson move is Ben Johnson effect for somebody that he absolutely worked with and had success with before. And even Joe Thuney from the Chiefs, I would bet my mortgage that they asked Eric Bieniemy about him, because Bieniemy was his offensive coordinator for 2 seasons in Kansas City, just sort of check in and say, yeah, we know this is a great player who's made the Pro Bowl, but how is he as a leader? Obviously he's got a reputation that's great, but when you've got a coach that literally was his offensive coordinator for 2 seasons, you're definitely going to bring him in on that discussion. So this is definitely heavily shaped by the coaching staff and heavily shaped by, I think it's obviously Ben Johnson's desire to have a better offensive line, but Ryan Poles recognizes that too. It's not as though Ben Johnson had to be the one to come in and say, hey, the offensive line needs to be better. I think Ryan Poles could recognize that, but maybe Ben Johnson's the one who comes in and says, we need veterans on the experienced, sure things on the offensive line. Not just that it has to be better, but it has to be guys who have done it before at a high level in the NFL. It's something Johnson talked about at the combine of having a center in particular. He talked about that's experienced and and consistent and just solid for Caleb Williams in front of him. I expect them to go do something in the veteran center market, whether that's Jonah Jackson moving inside or somebody like Drew Dahlman or Ryan Kelly from the Colts. Like, they've got some options there. And I think Ryan Poles is illustrating, hey, we didn't really like too many of these options at guard either.
I think it's going to makes a lot of sense because now Caleb's learning a new offense. It's third offense in 3 years. Okay. One thing less that you want to take off his plate because according to reports, they said he was making protection calls. So now you go get a center, a veteran center, who's going to make those calls. That's one less thing Caleb has to worry about while learning a new offense, his third offense in 3 years. Next year, if you want to have Caleb make the calls and protection, fine. You're good. You're not learning a new offense the first time. It's all good. But in your first year, learning a new offense, I'd much rather have a veteran center making those calls. So now Caleb can focus on other things. Doesn't have to, his pre-snap read can be a little more detailed. Okay? All you got to do is find a mic. Mic here. Or you don't have to find a mic. That's what the center's for. 57's the mic. 57's the mic. And now the pass pros is set off of that. I think that's a phenomenal thing. That'll be a great thing once they get a veteran center. And that's going to help Caleb's development. Talk to me about a wide receiver. What do you think about wide receivers? Anyone you like in particular? And when do you think they're going to delve in the wide receiver pool?
Yeah, when you look back at Ben Johnson's offenses in the Lions, like, he's never really had a very good number 3 wide receiver. And to me, that signals that maybe it's not as big of a priority to get, like, a great player at that position. Obviously, you want somebody who's reliable, who can catch the ball, and certainly they want somebody who can block at that spot. But it's never been, Keenan Allen with Roman Unze and DJ Moore, right? That hasn't been his MO for a lot of years. Sometimes it was kind of just Amon-Ra St. Brown and some guys, and now they get Jamison Williams. Like, they want to have a couple of good wide receivers, but that wide receiver 3 hasn't necessarily been household names or players that are like super fantasy football relevant. So, I mean, the obvious name there is Tim Patrick in free agency because he was the number 3 wide receiver in Detroit. He's now entering free agency. He shouldn't be crazy expensive there, but there's a number of guys, like, if they want to keep tapping into this, like, players that this coaching staff has experience with. I mean, there's like former Chiefs wide receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster or Mecole Hardman. Those guys are both entering free agency. Somebody like Diami Brown from the Commanders, who Eric Bieniemy also worked with as the offensive coordinator there, or a former Lion in DJ Chark, who was there for a couple seasons early on in Ben Johnson's career. Like, these are all guys that are not very expensive, not elite number 3 wide receivers by any means, but, like, hey, if you can find the guys that your coaching staff knows, that mitigates some of that risk as opposed to signing an outside player who you see is pretty good on tape, but you don't know exactly how they're going to fit in your scheme or how they're going to fit in your locker room and what the culture exactly looks like there.
I don't know about you, man, but I'm really excited now. I'm really, really excited about this. Any chance of them going D-tackle or edge at number 10?
I'm not if Mason Graham from Michigan falls, then D-tackle's a possibility there, but I'm not sure that anyone else rises up to number 10 there. Like, Walter Nolan.
Me and you are here on that one, bro. We are right freaking here on that one.
Yeah, Mason Graham would be a home run pick at that point. I really don't think he's going to fall that far. I mean, I know there was some of his combine measurements weren't like special by any means, but like, that's a really good football player. Like, that's just a football player and you'll make it work in the NFL. I really like both of those Michigan defensive tackles, but the other one, Kenneth Grant, he's not a top 10 pick in this draft either. So to me, edge rusher is a lot more intriguing there. And I think in an ideal world, the best player available on your draft board is an edge rusher there, because I think it goes the farthest in terms of sort of like filling a need, but you don't want to reach for just a need there, but you get a lot of value from that being an edge rusher there. I'm not sure that it lines up super well, because you've got like Mike Green from Marshall has some legitimate like sexual assault accusations from his past that are red flag. James Pierce from Tennessee has some rumored, immaturity and question marks there that might steer the Bears away. And then there's somebody like Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M is an absolute freak of an athlete, but the production has been particularly low. It's not just low sacks, but not a great pass rush win rate either. So do they want to take a raw pass rusher with the 10th overall pick? I think somebody like Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M fits the kind of player Dennis Allen usually likes. I'm just not sure that he's going to be the clear best player available at that spot. Like, still feels like offensive line is probably more likely, and I guess you can never rule out Ashton Genta either. But I think, to me, there's plenty of quality pass rush talent around that spot. And certainly, if you trade down, that opens up the door quite a bit more.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. So there are a couple of situations, or what do you think, who has to be gone for the Bears to trade back? Or do you think they're just staying at 10?
I think the bigger issue is, like, who is anybody going to trade up for? And that's the real challenge here. Because this is a draft class where, there's 5 or 7 pretty good players at the top, a couple quarterbacks, a couple defensive linemen, maybe an offensive lineman, and then Travis Hunter. Like, that's kind of it for the so-called blue chip talent at the top. And so if those guys are all off the board by pick number 7, there's not as big of a difference than between the player you get at 10 and the player you get at 20 or 25. And so I'm not sure that makes it intriguing for the Bears to want to move down, because you'll get a player who maybe is just as good. But why then would another team want to move up if they might see these players as just as good? Like, if you look at this offensive line class and you say maybe there's not that much of a difference between Kelvin Banks from Texas and Armand Membo from Missouri, and there's some other tackles here, I don't need to trade up to get that guy because one of those guys will fall to me. Or if those pass rushers we just talked about, Mike Green, James Pierce, Shamar Stewart, like, if you have them all graded similarly, do I have to trade up to make sure I get one of those guys, or can I just sit where I am later in the first round and let them fall to me? So, I mean, unless a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward falls, but all the way to 10 doesn't seem likely at all to me. Or if somebody gets desperate for Jackson Dart from Mississippi and they want to trade up for a quarterback there, but all the quarterback needy teams are mostly before the Bears pick anyway. So it just doesn't feel like a good year for a trade down, unless it's like literally one spot like they did in the past with Darnell Wright. Like, if somebody just happens to want to jump one spot, but I don't think a big move down is likely in the cards.
Okay. If you had your druthers, Will Campbell or Calvin Banks?
I really like Armand Membo a lot too. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty torn on them. I'm not as sold on Will. I think Will Campbell's a very good player, but if we're nitpicking, right? Like, some people think Will Campbell is like clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the class. I'm definitely right there with you as far as those guys side by side for me. Like, I think Will Campbell is a little bit higher floor there for me, but I think Kelvin Banks can be even a little bit higher ceiling there in terms of like what I see is correctable in his game. Whereas like Will Campbell with me, it's more about like sort of setting up versus speed, getting on the edge, where it's sort of like, can he versus can't he do it? Whereas Kelvin Banks is like, oh, I can improve his balance and I can improve his punch timing and make him that much better of a player. So it's like, if I want to draft them right away to start and be great in year one, it's Will Campbell. But if I want to talk about a guy for 5 to 10 years, I might be more like Kelvin Banks or Armand Membo to me, who I think the physical tools are that much more intriguing overall.
Wasn't it Membo who was screaming down running the 40?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want like a guy who's a little bit nuts, especially on that offensive line. Like,
yeah, you do.
Perfect.
Yeah, you do. I'm telling you, I was a running back, and hell yeah, the crazy. My buddy in the junior, he's a freaking nut job. And then they had a couple other guys who were just crazy. Ron Rockemore, like, you love those guys, man. When they come in, those are the guys you love to run behind. You just love, because they're gonna do everything they can. They're in the pancake business, man. With offensive linemen, man, you just love it. And my guys would talk so much shit, like, all right, we're running here and try and stop it. I'm like, why are you telling them? Because they can't stop us.
Especially at that position where, like, so often you kind of have to be the one who absorbs contact a little bit more. Like, you want the guy who's going to be the hammer and not the nail, right? Like, it can't be a passive position where, even though it sort of naturally wants you to be passive, because it's like, well, we wait for the guy to come to me, and how am I going to get him? Like, no, go get him and go drive him through. Like, we think of defense as the aggressive spot, and offense is sort of more waiting for it. But if you get the aggressive offensive lineman, like, those guys are the ones that have that extra edge and that extra level that could just go above and beyond on those plays.
Yeah, it reminds me of the offensive line of the Cowboys back in the 90s. Those are some going at it Mother Hubbards, going from Eric Williams to Nate Newton and who's the other guard? Larry Allen, who benched like 7,000 pounds. Mark Stepnoski. That's what you're talking about. The guys who attack. They would attack. They wouldn't wait. They attacked. And that's how we need those. That's the mentality that we need on this offensive line. And I think that they got some guys to do that, and I'm really happy about that. Excited about it.
Yeah, and when was the last time, I mean, I know it's been a while, but when was the last time, like, a guy who's a little bit nuts, especially on that offensive line, like, you want the guy who's going to be the hammer and not the nail, right? Like, it can't be a passive position where, you know, those are the guys you love to run behind. You just love, because you know those guys are the ones that have that extra edge and that extra level that could just go above and beyond on those plays.
Yeah, it reminds me of the offensive line of the Cowboys back in the 90s. Those are some going at it Mother Hubbards, going from Eric Williams to Nate Newton and who's the other guard? Larry Allen, who benched like 7,000 pounds. Mark Stepnoski.
the Bears have had those kind of guys in the offensive line. Because I mean, Olin Kreutz, because you think about like, I think
Kyle
about
Long was the last one.
Who?
Kyle Long.
Oh yeah, Kyle Long. Good call. Because I think about like, Tevinjenkins is a little bit more of a soft-spoken, easygoing guy. Braxton Jones, a little bit more of a soft-spoken, easygoing guy. Even Darnell Wright's kind of a quieter, easier going guy. Like I want a little bit more of that juice, that energy, and that hype. It's been a little bit too, I'm not going to call them soft, but just a little bit too low key on the Bears offensive line. And I think somebody like Joe Thuney is going to come in here and dial up some of that intensity for sure.
Yeah, I think Tevin had it. He just didn't play enough. There were plenty of times where Tevin's taking the dude into the freaking first row. Like, damn, he's piling him on, and I loved it. This is what I love to see. He just didn't do it. He was hurt too much, and I think that's one of the biggest things, for him. But before this, Kyle Long, he was a man. He was a nasty son of a gun, So yeah, and then before that, Olin. So to have these people like that on our offensive line is good. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about the Jack Sanborn thing? They decided not to tender him an offer. Doesn't mean he can't come back. But what do you think about the Sanborn thing? His local kid, great run defender, not so great in pass. But your thoughts on the Jack Sanborn situation of the Bears not offering him, tendering him an offer?
Yeah, it's not that surprising because of what the tendered number is. I think it's like $3.2 million. So if they tendered him, they'd have to offer him a 1-year, $3 million contract. And he's not going to get a $3 million a year contract on the open market. Like that's what Eric Kendricks is making with the Cowboys. And I was looking at some other linebackers, like some starting caliber linebackers in the NFL are making $3 million a year. Like that's not what Sanborn's going to get. So it makes sense for the Bears from that standpoint financially. I think the interesting thing about it is that they announced that now, as opposed to like, they have 4 or 5 other restricted free agents that they haven't made that announcement. It wasn't like one sweeping move where we're just, hey, we're not tendering any of these guys, even though they're not going to tender Doug Kramer, the center, at $3 million. Like obviously they're not going to they're not going to tender maybe any of these guys, but the fact that they announce it now with Jack Sanborn and saying, hey, you're going to be an unrestricted free agent suggests that they weren't making progress on the contract negotiations. Because with any of these guys, you could just sign them to a 2-year extension for $1 million a year or whatever and say, okay, that's pretty fair. Let's just move it on and don't have to worry about restricted free agency at all. This suggests that Sanborn and the Bears couldn't reach an agreement, or maybe the Bears weren't as interested in an agreement, and that Sanborn will have the opportunity to go out and test his market and maybe sign somewhere else, or maybe come back to the Bears and say, you know what, I'll take the money you were offering me instead. But I think it signals something more with him than the other restricted free agents that could still be negotiating those deals and might not end up even having to have a tender offer extended or not, because they just re-signed with the team and are happy to be back.
Give me your thoughts on Caleb. It was all over social media yesterday. He's out throwing the ball. What kind of year are you expecting from him? Again, he's learning a new offense, but this offense is going to be built specifically for him. And I'll tell you what, I'm excited for this year, Lorin. I'm super excited for 2026. Super duper excited, because now there's no more learning curve, right? You had the whole year to learn a new offense, to make most of your mistakes. And hell, we may mess around and make the playoffs. I know it's crazy talk in these parts, but still, it's possible. 26 has me super excited. But what do you think Caleb does this year with an offense that he knows, that he's been told is being built around you and your skill set?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on like 2026 is the year. And so I'm trying not to get over the top in the hype, because all offseason the hype train is going to build. It built last offseason, and that wasn't even with Ben Johnson and this coaching staff there. So I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, but at the same time, like Caleb Williams found a way to throw for 3,500 yards and 20 touchdowns last season in spite of everything going on around him. So even if you just give him like stable coaching and a better offensive line, like that should, if everything else stayed the same, like that should drastically increase the production that we saw from him. So it's hard to not think that things are going to take a big step forward. But yeah, coaching absolutely matters the most in that conversation. But at the same time, we have to have some level of patience there to say, yes, it's not going to be a well-oiled machine week 1. It might take 6 or 8 weeks to just really kind of work this through. It's going to kind of depend on how complicated it is and how quickly Caleb can pick it up, and then everyone else's ability to stay healthy around Caleb Williams. So I think he's going to have a great season. I think it's not unrealistic to expect he should be the Bears' first 4,000-yard passer this upcoming season. It doesn't mean he throws for 4,800 yards and 50 touchdowns, but like I think he can, if he stays healthy for the whole season, he should be able to pretty easily hit 4,000 yards, and we should be able to get to the point where like that's just the expectation every season, and that that maybe comes with 8, 9, 10 wins, and you're pushing for a wild card spot there, and you feel like, man, this team is really close to something, and one more offseason of a big splash move, and then this team can really take off to the next level. But I sort of envision like those first, like not those first couple seasons of Ben Johnson in Detroit, but like before the Lions took that big step to the NFC Championship game, like that year before, where they were right on the cusp but weren't quite ready yet, and we could all see it. But then everyone knew going into the next season that was going to be the time they make the jump. That's what it feels like we're on the beginning stages of for the Bears.
That's a pretty good analogy, good comparison. We do feel like that because we're not. I mean, defense, we have a lot of stars. We got a lot. I mean, yeah, we still need an edge opposite Montez Sweat, but every level we've got studs. Every level. And if things come together quickly with the offense, man, I definitely think we can vie for the division crown. If they don't, I'm not expecting them to win the division, but if things come together quickly, this defense will be motivated by offense scoring points. Plus, you get to go pin your ears back and go get the QB because they're going to be passing the ball. So if that's I'm really interested to see if it picks up quickly because, again, it's built off of Caleb, built around him. And I want to also my biggest thing is this with Ben Johnson is just like Cliff Kingsbury did for Jaden Daniels. He didn't throw the whole playbook at him. He gave him a little bit. Let's work on this and get this down. Then he added a little more. Then he added a little more. Then he added a little more. Remember, Coach Eberflus was like, "Oh, we have the whole playbook. He's a smart young man. He's picking it up." Yeah, you don't pick it up. Not when they throw you the whole freaking thing. You work on something, all right? You get that basic down. Then you add. You keep adding, keep adding. And that's where I think the Bears went wrong is throwing everything at Caleb, and he retained as much as he could, but then trying to retain stuff and trying not to get your head knocked off 68 times. It kind of stuff kind of can be lost in translation when you're running from Myles Garrett and a whole bunch of sack masters. So you give him if Ben Johnson does that, hopefully he does. I think Caleb's grasp of the offense is going to come along a lot sooner than many people think.
That seemed to really be a big part of the issue last season, right? I mean, all the different reports we've heard about, how much Shane Waldron was or wasn't helping Caleb watch tape, and about maybe not having a lot of structure in terms of how many steps are supposed to be on his dropbacks on certain passes, whether it's a 3-step or a 5-step drop. Like there just wasn't a lot of that structure. And I understand the idea that like you don't want to put too much structure and restrictions. Say, well, Caleb, this is all we're going to let you do is do this thing and keep him from flourishing and being the playmaker that he is. But you have to give him the foundation to stand on and say, hey, these are the rules. But when you need to break them, go ahead and break them. But make sure he does understand all of the rules first, and then he could be special when he breaks those rules. But those rules don't have to be like end all be all. You have to only do it this way. But it's like, right, here's what it's supposed to look like. If it doesn't look like that, then go do your magic. Like that's got to be the balance.
Yeah, I think that's Ben is smart enough to realize that he's got. I mean, obviously he knows what he's got. He's got a great quarterback talent. And to box him in, I think what you're trying to say is, listen, get the fundamentals down. Be fundamentally sound. And when shit hits the fan, you gotta go off platform, go do your thing. But despite the fact that he's a great gunslinger like Favre and Rodgers were, okay, they still had structure for the most part. They still had fundamentals. And I think that's the one thing that makes sure that he builds his offense off of fundamentals, because we've seen Caleb throw off all platforms, we've seen him throw off 1 foot, falling back. He can do all that. We know that. Just don't make it a habit. When it's necessary, do it. Just don't make it a habit. If he realizes that I can get my feet set real quick and then throw, and he does it to get more on a ball, perfect. I think because, again, this has got me really excited, Lorin. The 2 guards in the last 24 hours, man, I was happy as a pig in slop, dude. And it's going to give this young man time, and we've seen what he can do with time. People were mad about Justin. Like, what did you want to get him a great offensive line and receivers? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of the plan. Well, now you're giving Caleb a great offensive line, and you still got 2 great receivers and a tight end. And speaking of that, where do they dip into the tight end pool? Because you only got Cole Kmet, and there's quite a few good tight ends coming out this year.
Yeah, the draft class is a lot better than the free agent market at tight end, where things are a little bit thin there. And this is another position where, in Detroit, like they used a lot of 2 tight end sets, but it wasn't a huge priority to invest in a big name number 2 tight end like Gerald Everett, who's obviously gone now. For Detroit, for a while, it was just it has been Brock Wright, who was an undrafted free agent for them, who worked his way off the practice squad and into that number 2 role. And he kind of just he was one of those players that just refused to let them cut him, right? Like he just always stuck around and worked hard and was a good blocker and a good special teams player and could catch the ball when you threw it to him. And like I was talking to some Lions guys at the combine, they're just like, yeah, he's just really solid. Like he's not special, he's just really solid. And that's kind of all the Bears might need at that number 2 spot. Like I think if they want to swing for the fences, somebody in free agency that makes a lot of sense is Juwan Johnson from the Saints, who was a part of with Declan Doyle when he was the tight ends coach there, and with offensive line coach Dan Rouchar there. So I think there's some familiarity there, but maybe Durham Smythe from the Dolphins. There's a combination there, but I'm not expecting something big at that spot. It's going to be a little bit more low key, a little bit cheap. But when they're investing this much in the offensive line, I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit at number 2 tight end and also number 3 wide receiver, like we talked about earlier. Like, okay, Ben Johnson should be just fine with Moore, Odunze, Kmet, and then Swift and Roshan Johnson in the backfield with a good offensive line in front of you. You didn't have the good offensive line, okay, then you got to get better weapons in there. But like, the weapons they have now should be good enough, as long as the offensive line is also good enough.
Yeah, I mean, you still got Tyler Scott that we really haven't seen take a step forward, and that can be, they still have Colin Johnson, a 6'5" young man who, Lorin, I just don't understand it, dude. I don't understand why people make things difficult. Why you don't throw a jump ball to Colin Johnson? He's 6'5" with like a 38, 40-inch vertical. Why not throw it up to that guy in the red zone? It doesn't make sense to me. All right, you use your guys the way you have them. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I think him and the Tyler Scotts of the world can really be a big part of it. But that all starts when Caleb has time, because you can't cover everybody. All right, it's tough. It's tough to cover everybody. And when you give him time, Caleb should be able to do some work surgically. I'll slice these defenses up, and that's what I'm really, really looking forward to, man. I really am.
And I think Ben Johnson is too, in the sense of like what Caleb can do that Jared Goff couldn't do, right? I think the bet is that like Caleb should be able to do a lot of the simple things Jared Goff could do in terms of like executing the play the way it's supposed to be executed. And then you add on the playmaking ability on top of that, outside of that structure. And that's where I think Ben Johnson can see his offense, can envision his offense like going to a whole level above what Jared Goff could do because of that off-structure playmaking there, that in the red zone, in those key critical situations where maybe Goff couldn't give you that much. Like if the reads aren't there, if the play breaks down, how much more can you get from Goff? And it's kind of all on Ben Johnson's shoulders to put these guys in position there. But when Caleb can do a little bit more there, that to me is where truly special can come.
Yeah, because you think about it, Jared Goff isn't mobile. All right, we all know that. We knew that he had flaws. We all saw that. LA kind of gave up on him and traded for Stafford. They wanted Stafford, and then all of a sudden, the last couple of years, Jared Goff's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Why? Ben Johnson, but also the buy-in from Jared Goff is a buy-in from the players is part too, and that's where Caleb has to buy in and believe it. I think he will, because look, you're the number 1 overall pick. When a guy comes and says, I'm going to build my offense around you, I can see how it's pretty easy for a quarterback to kind of gravitate toward whatever he's going to say, because everything's about you. And this new generation, everything is about this. It's about me. Well, it is about you. So I think it's, I'm expecting huge things from these guys. Again, not this year. I think I'm expecting big things from these guys. But 26 and on, I'm expecting huge things from those guys. And it's going to be one hell of a thing to watch, man. Hey, Lorin, great stuff as always, buddy. I really appreciate your time. Do me a favor, though, before you go, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, of course. Happy to come on anytime. You can follow me on Twitter at CoxSports1. You can hear me 5 days a week on the Locked On Bears podcast on YouTube or where you get your podcast. And you can read my writing over at the Bears on Sports Illustrated vertical at sportsillustrated.com.
Nice. Hey, so I did you see the PS I sent you? I got my tickets for Billy Joel and Sting.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't see that. I don't know where you sent it to me, but
The email.
Heck yeah.
Dude, I was fired up. I'm fired up. Next month.
Coming up, we'll have a great time.
Yeah, I got the hotel room and everything. So yeah, I'm fired up, dude. It's gonna be one. He's on my bucket list. And then to have Sting on there too, I'd like Sting as well. So that's gonna be one hell of a concert. I got great seats. I think someone was trying to get rid of them because it only hit me for $400 for two of them. It was three. They were 165 each, and they're in the 100 level, kind of like 30, but not 40, 45 degrees for the stage, but they're in the 100 level. So on the angle, the incline, I'm not on the field. I hate the field because you just hate the field. So I'm on the incline, so I'm going to be stage level. Yeah, and it came out, with the fees and everything, just came out to like $4 and change. I'm like, for Billy Joel and Sting? Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be up in a cheese land April 26th.
Hey, we'll grab drinks before and after, and we'll have a great time, man. Looking forward to it.
Sounds like a plan, man. I appreciate it. All right, Lorin, we'll talk soon. Thanks, buddy. Hey, and I'll hit you up if any more as soon as they sign Dolman.
Yeah. Hey, the next trade tomorrow, I'll be back on. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Bye now. Guys, that's Lorin Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast, talking Bears with your boy, and I am fired up. All right, I am fired up, and here's why. You're doing shit like a real football team should. You're making moves as a championship, a quality organization should. You're building from the line out. You get these guys. I know they're veterans, these two guards, but you got a good 2 years left in them. I know one's in the last year of his contract. But you can extend him for 2 years, give him most of his money the first year. If you got to cut him after that. Cool, no worries. But you're starting to act and move like a real franchise, a successful franchise moves. And that's foreign to us as Bears fans. That's foreign to us. Planksters in the house. Don't worry about it, Papa. Don't worry about being late, man. As long as you make it, I'm happy. Thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. King Booker World. He's checking in, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Sorry about this. Off the dub says moving up and grabbing Pierce an option. It is if they think Pierce is their guy. And listen, if you go and you get Dolman, your offensive line is set. So now your question is, do you want the 3 tech or do you want the edge or do you want the tackle? Again, maybe you're okay with the tackles and not overwhelmed by them and say, I could do it with Braxton Jones one more year. And now you want to turn to the defense. If Mason Graham's gone, you can jump up and get Pierce. King Book of World says, if Sting don't do murder by numbers or synchronicity, then it ain't a concert. I hear you. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'm fired up about it. It's going to be a good time next month, end of the month. Yeah. I was supposed to be going, and I'm not sure. Supposed to be going to MJB next week as well. She's hitting town. My guy had tickets, and then he sold the tickets. And I told him, I said, I'll pick up those tickets this weekend. He's like, oh, I sold them. I was like, shit. So we'll see. So if I get to go see MJB, Mary J. Blige, Queen of Hip Hop Soul. Come on, man. Crazy JoJo says trade back, recover some picks, and still get talent. You can do that. That's very very plausible. Very, very possible. Very plausible. Why not? Because it's like Lorin said, if you get guys, there's a whole clump. You get the whole second tier of players, and you can trade back and get more picks and still get a second-tier player? Hey, I hear you. Crazy JoJo, I hear you, Papa. I'm good with that, too. I'm good with that, too. My man Junior says, 83-84, I snuck out and saw a police concert. It was awesome. Oh, I can't wait, man. I'm excited. I'm fired up for that. Fired up for that. And, again, it only hit me for 400 for 2 ticks. I was like, what? Because the ticks I was looking at before were 5. When I looked at police at Billy Joel tickets about a month ago, last time Lorin was on, I think it was in January. We were talking about it, and I was looking then, and they were 500. They were 500 for 2 ticks. And I was like, Mondo says, I can't name one Sting song off the top of my head. That's all right, dog. It's just us old heads. Definitely beyond your time. Oh, man. But, hey, you know what? I know you've been giving me shit about it. Black Diamond, let's take a look at your mock. Take a look at the mock you gave me. Let's go through it. Here we go. Now, with number 10, you got Ashton Genty. Okay, I can see that. Look, I can see and understand why people would say take Ashton Genty with a number 10 pick. Now that you've upgraded the offensive line, especially if you get Drew Dolman, there's going to be a lot more people on your bandwagon, Black Diamond. A lot more people who are say, yeah, to get Genty at 10. I still say there's other good backs you can get, a little bigger, stronger backs that you can get later in the draft. But Ashton Genty, not bad. 39, Mike Green, edge. Okay. There you go. Gray Zabel. Guy out of North Dakota State. Okay. Tate Rutledge. Now, this is what we're talking about. Black Diamond. This is what we're talking about. This is where you get the guards in the second and third rounds that are good. Just need to be coached up. They just need some exposure to good people. Let me take this down for a second. You get Tate Ratledge, Jake Majors. You get to sit behind, I know Jake Majors is the center, but Tate Ratledge, you get to sit behind a Pro Bowl guard for a year or so. This is called reloading. That's how good teams do it. And it looks like now we're in a position to do that, to be able to do that. So I like that pick. I like to take Ratledge. Because I don't think Tyler Booker's going to be there. He's a first-round pick, late first round, but I don't think he's going to be there. If you can get Tyler Booker in the second round, shut the front door. You got Hunter Wohler from Wisconsin. I like that. We definitely need some help. Jimmy Horn, wide receiver from Colorado. I'm good with that. And then Caden is a I don't know. There's a thing in there. Tight end from Ole Miss. Let me see. Caden. Here. Oh, Prescorn. Caden. Oh, he's older too. 25 years old. Okay. Six, 255. Born in Michigan. Okay. We do need help at the tight end spot. Black Diamond, we do need help, and I like you addressing that later in the draft. I give this one a B, maybe a B minus to a B. I still don't like Ashton Genty up that high. I think there's more value. We can get more running backs later. But Mike Green, the edge you addressed. All right, Gray Zabel. This was done way before these picks. So it's Tate Radish, but that's the guy I talked about. You get a good guard to sit behind a Pro Bowl guard, and now you're cooking with gas. Got to address the safety issue. Hunter Walder. We need a number 3 receiver. Jimmy Horn. Black Diamond. Good stuff, baby. Good stuff. Damn, Black Diamond, you had a couple of good. You and Cornelius have been knocking them out of the park with these mock drafts, baby. What's all that about? You had to throw me a curveball, huh? Crazy Jojo said, I saw Billy Joel in Las Vegas last year for free. Shut up. Was it at the football stadium, at Allegiant Stadium? It had to have been, right? At Allegiant Stadium? If it was Allegiant, tell me if it was Allegiant Stadium, their new football field, and how dope that stadium is. Oh, snap. 6th row from the stage. Damn. Billy Joel's out. He's on my list. Junior says, my pa was old school. He thought every concert, my pa said, was at a pot party. You can't go. Thought I was smoking up, huh? I remember your dad, dude. That's funny. Oh, man. That had to be. Oh, really? Crazy JoJo's been to that Allegiant Stadium 5 times. I should be going this season. The Bears are playing at Vegas, so I like it because the first round is for game-changing players, even if it doesn't fit a need. Yeah, I mean, you get it, Ashton Jeanty. Again, I can make the argument either way. My preference is no, don't get him. But if I had to defend drafting Ashton Jeanty, hell, I could defend it big time. Especially after the last 24 hours, I can defend it. Hell yeah, I can defend it. Oh shit, you saw Metallica and Red Hot Chili Peppers at Allegiant Stadium too. Damn, Crazy JoJo. Were those 2 for free also? What are you, like an usher? Like I was an usher back in the day. I got an Andy Frayne usher. I got to see a whole bunch of concerts for free. I've talked about them on here. Different concerts I saw, the Bulls games, Bears games, Hawks, Sox. He said, no, I'm not an usher. That's crazy. But I'll tell you what, guys, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm really fired up. I might be more fired up than I've ever been for next season at this point. Because we didn't know where the direction they were going. Remember I talked about we got to upgrade the offensive line? Duly noted. Offensive line, upgraded. Upgraded. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Don't worry. Ryan vision ain't blurry. All my Public Enemy fans know what I'm talking about. I'm excited because the things that Caleb's going to be allowed to do. As you heard, I said, 26, I'm going to be geeked. 25 this year, I'm excited to see where our starting point is. Actually, where the end point of 25 is, because that's going to be a launch pad, a springboard to where 26 goes. When you get a guy like Ben Johnson, who's going to tailor make this offense for Caleb Williams, I don't see any reason that there's going to be any friction between the two. I don't. Because he's created an offense for you. Something that accentuates your skill set. Caleb, your skill set is going to be accentuated. You're going to get to do the stuff that you love to do. And then you got to iron out the kinks. Year 1. Okay, his connection with Dunze is going to get better. His connection with DJ Moore hopefully gets better. Hopefully he remembers there's a guy named Cole Kmet on the team as well. And believe me, I Ben Johnson is going to have a conversation with him. Say, listen, homie, I understand Laporta in Detroit doing a lot, moving the chains a lot for us. You have one of those guys here now. Use him. use him. And I think that's going to, oh, my Peter Brady voice, when it's time to change. One of the things that I'm expecting for Caleb to do is use a wider variety of receivers. And maybe Caleb just came in, just kind of, maybe he settles down a little bit. Maybe he wanted to come in and show I'm the man, I'm this, I'm that. You know, maybe the whole DJ Moore situation. Maybe he's not so petty, talking Caleb and not throwing the ball to DJ Moore more often. Maybe that goes away. I don't know. Because he has a great set of skill position players. Great. So I've mentioned before how I was extremely impressed the way DeAndre Swift ran that ball between the tackles. Extremely impressed. But that means I was impressed with the offensive line. And we just upgraded this offensive line. They got 2 Pro Bowl guards. Remember I told you, the 2 guards in the center, that's your run game. And we upgraded the 2 Pro Bowl guards. So that has me excited because you run the ball, that's going to allow a lot more options for Caleb. So you see all this, and again, it surprises us as Bear fans. All right, because we're not used to this stuff. We're not used to an organization moving like this Bears organization is moving. They're moving like they're competent. They're moving like they've done this before. They're moving like they're actually trying to win and put a winning product on the field, a perennial winning product on the field. That's how they're moving. I'm happy about it. I'm surprised as hell about it, just like the rest of you guys and the rest of Bear Nation. But I'm relieved. We're in the 3rd largest market in the freaking country. We are the charter franchise of the NFL. We need to have more than 1 Super Bowl in our building attached to this town. NFL championships are great. They're great. We have a few of those, a lot of those. I want Super Bowls. And now we're taking steps as a team, as an organization, in that direction. And for the first time, I can say I'm happy with the moves. I'm really happy with the moves that they've made in the offseason. I've been somewhat happy, but I'm really happy so far. Addressing the offensive line. You have your quarterback that's going to lead you into the future. And you got protection for him. Thank you. You would think it'd be that simple. You'd think you'd know. You should know. Apparently, people in high positions don't. So, how fired up are you, fans? How fired up are you to start this season? And free agency's not even over. As I told Lorin, wait till we get Drew Dahlman and really shore up that interior of the offensive line. So tell you what, you're showing to Caleb you give a damn about his ass. You care about him. That's exactly what you're showing him. Exactly. You are the most important player in this franchise right now. You're the most important player on this team. And we're going to show you by protecting you. So you can do the things that you did to make you one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college. Sean Wall says, Ben Johnson wants to win now. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I should have said the best quarterback prospects come out of college. And they've built this around you. Yeah. That's something that I'm happy to see. You know, Kevin Warren, this has a lot of Kevin Warren on it. The moves that have been made. A lot of Ben Johnson's fingerprints should be all over this. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. We got football people making football decisions. Football people making football decisions. No more accountants making decisions. No more fans / owners making decisions. You got football people in football places making football decisions. It's been far too long. Man, 2 hours is coming and gone. I want to thank my guest, Lorin Cox from the Locked on Bears podcast. He's the host of the Locked on Bears podcast. He said you can check him out 5 days a week on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from. You can go check him out every day. They're not long, sometimes a half hour, 20 minutes, half hour, 40 minutes, an hour sometimes. If you're driving, you're stuck in traffic, you're on your way home, give him a listen. Follow him on Twitter at Cox Sports 1. That's like Fox Sports 1 with a C. Wow. I just got a text. According to Twitter, Ben Devine, he's pretty plugged in. Chicago Bears are expected to extend Joe Thuney before free agency begins next Monday. This should create even more cap space for Ryan Poles and company. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Mondo. Okay. I like that kind of party. See? Move shit like that. Moves like that. Moves like that. You extend it for 2 years. Well, didn't I just say that? Give him 2 years. Give him another 2 years. So you got 24 or 25, 26, 27. At that point, you should have your backup guard, the guy to take the baton and say, I got it from here for the next 10 years. Now Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, now you got to go find that young man. Take the baton from Thuney. I want to say, is it Thuney? I don't know. Black Diamond said, if true, that is smart. Yeah, that's real smart. Extend his ass. King Booker World, acting like a big boy operation. I'm saying, acting like you know how to build a winning franchise. Sean Wall said, I can't wait for free agency to start next week. It's going to be crazy. You better be at Drew Dolman's door. 11:57, 11:58, 57, 58, 59. Bing! Midnight. Bing bong. Ring his doorbell. Bing bong. No, we're not in a Zoom meeting. We're at your house. We want you. We want you to build. We want you here for the next 5 years. Take you to 31, 32. Next 5 years. So enjoy it. Remember a long time ago? I said, just enjoy the season. Enjoy it. It's going to be ups and downs. Live in the moment. Be happy when good stuff happens. You can be mad when bad stuff happens. Yell and bitch and moan. Be happy. Be in the moment. Right now, we're in the moment. Good things are happening. Listen, I got to get out of here. I got to go pick up the warden. Guys, you have a phenomenal day. It's beautiful here out in Chicago. Wherever you're at, hopefully it's just as lovely. Okay? I'm going to replay this at 6 o'clock tonight, 6 p.m. Central. So if you missed it, you can go back and check it out. Again, sports owners, I appreciate the love and the support. You tuning in and check me out every day or 3 days a week. I truly, truly love it. And listen, make sure you let your loved ones know you love them. All right, because tomorrow is promised to no one. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Guys, have a phenomenal day. I am out.